Alright, welcome to my channel. Um, for those who are new here, I go over news items, and if it's something that I have extra thoughts on, I I do leave those. Otherwise, it's just straight reading. And if you have something that you either want me to go more in depth in, or if you have a news item that you think that you would want me to talk about on this channel, just leave it all in the comments below. So, with that out of the way, let us get to the latest bulletin. We will start with business and markets. All right. India's Adani Group shares sank after market turmoil forced the conglomerate to exit a crucial $2.5 billion stock offer, deepening its market losses to more than $100 billion, as tycoon Gautam Adani's woes mount. Foreign investors and Indian regulators are abandoning any pretense that the conglomerate's troubles are contained and domestic markets will be spared contagion. They're saying domestic markets, so I guess this is going to be confined to India? Even though he was, up until yesterday, the richest man in Asia, I guess? Alright. The Federal Reserve said it had turned a key corner in the fight against high inflation, but that victory would still require its benchmark overnight interest rate to be increased further and remain elevated at least through 2023. And they did raise the interest rates like 0.5%, I think it was. The European Central Bank is all but certain to raise interest rates again today and pencil in more hikes for the next few months. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, that they raised their interest rates on 0.5%. The Bank of England is poised to raise rates for the 10th time in a row to keep up its fight against rampant inflation. So yeah, it was the European Union that raised their interest rates 0.1%, and I think the Fed raised it 0.25%. I think that's how that works. All right. Shell delivered a record $40 billion profit in 2022, capping a tumultuous year in which a surge in energy prices after Russia's invasion of Ukraine allowed it to hand shareholders unprecedented returns. Nothing says, oh, we had nothing to do with this inflation and higher gas prices than record profits. Because, I mean, these guys are rich enough that they could have cut everyone a break. Inflation didn't have to be as bad if they just weren't greedy fucks. So Microsoft rolled out a premium Teams messaging offering powered by ChatGPT to simplify meetings using the AI chatbot that has taken Silicon Valley by storm. ChatGPT is estimated to have reached 100 million monthly active users in January, just 2 months after launch, making it the fastest growing consumer application in history. Well, let me see. Kids are using it to write their papers whole cloth. So, yeah, I can't imagine why this thing is so freaking popular. Volvo Cars is gearing up for an electric blitz to convert all its mainstay models, 3 SUVs and 2 sedans, into electric vehicles, and to introduce a luxury electric van aimed at boosting sales in Asia. 2 people with knowledge of the plan said. Okay. So everyone's going towards electric. I'm not going to say whether that's good or bad because everything has a downside. So, not saying anything either way. All right, moving on to world news. A Russian missile destroyed an apartment building in the eastern Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk. Let me just make sure. Kramatorsk. Okay. I can read. As top European Union officials arrived in Kyiv for talks seen as key to Ukraine's pivot towards the west. A former commander, okay, that's one thing. A former commander of Russia's Wagner mercenary group who fled to Norway told Reuters he wanted to apologize for fighting in Ukraine and was speaking out to bring the perpetrators of atrocities in conflict to justice. So I guess not everyone in the Wagner group are horrible, horrible people. At least not the commanders. All right. Let's see. All right. The Philippines has granted the United States expanded access to its military bases, their defense chief said, and amid mounting concerns over China's increased assertiveness in the disputed South China Sea and tensions over self-ruled Taiwan. Well. And there was this former military general or something who predicted that by 2025 the U.S. will be at war with China, which I'm sure the State Department was just super thrilled to read, and the Defense Department's like, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you? Let's just scare people. So yeah, nice. All right. North Korea's foreign ministry said that drills by the United States and its allies have pushed the situation to an extreme red line and threatened to turn the peninsula into a huge war arsenal and a more critical war zone. Haven't they been threatening that they were going to retaliate for some perceived strife for years, decades even? So, but I've also heard that the dear leader is going through a midlife crisis. So maybe he's finally going to do it. Hope not. Hope it's just more bluster, but the suicide bomber who killed more than 100 people at a mosque in a police compound in the Pakistan city of Peshawar this week wore a police uniform and entered the high-security area on a motorbike, a provincial police chief said. So, I guess it could go either way if he was not a police officer or... Because do we know what the motive was? I mean, they said Islamist, but do we know for a fact that, well, that is their MO. So never mind. That's their MO. Alright. Mourners and protesters faced off in Sydney at the funeral service for Australian Cardinal George Pell, a former top Vatican official who was acquitted in 2020 of sexual abuse accusations. Yeah. I never quite liked, I don't care who you are, I never liked the idea of protesting someone's funeral. If you want to dance on their grave, fine. That I'm not against. Certain people deserve that, but I don't know, just something about protesting a funeral just icky to me. Even though he was an icky person, so. Okay, now let's end it with U.S. news. The U.S. Justice Department did not find documents with classified markings during a 3.5-hour search of President Joe Biden's beach house in Rehoboth, Delaware, but did take some materials for further review, Biden's attorney said. The search by FBI agents appeared to represent an expansion of the probe into Biden's handling of classified documents. Or they just simply want to make sure that they got everything. I wouldn't say it's expanded as if, they are treating him like a bad guy. I'm thinking it's more that they want to be thorough. So, because what I'm hearing is that a lot of the documents that they discovered were just notes that he took in meetings that had classified material. And so because he took notes on that classified material, that becomes classified, even if it's what notes he took weren't necessarily classified information themselves, because everything's being overclassified. The idea is, when in doubt, classify rather than go easy on the classification. So, all right, Biden and Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy had initial talks about raising government borrowing limits in a first test of how the two will work together, with both sides agreeing to talk more. Yeah. That doesn't sound good. Not surprising. Not shocked, not surprising. But yeah. What I saw today is that they're still whining about not doing a clean debt limit, passing a clean debt limit. Where is that? Yeah. Speaker McCarthy says House will not pass clean debt limit without spending reform. So, for those of you who rely on government funds, which is everyone in this country, everyone in the U.S., be prepared in mid-June to go without something, because the Republicans have decided that big government is a problem, and the government is broken, so they're going to break government to prove that government is broken. Wonderful. Anyway, let's see. A group of Republicans in the House of Representatives said they would seek to impeach Biden's top border official, a sign of coming political battles over record numbers of illegal crossings. The problem with this is, I'm sure there are quite a few illegal crossings. I am not saying there aren't. But the people that they generally point to prove that are asylum seekers, which it's not illegal to seek asylum, even if it's going through the border, because that's how you do it. You walk to the border and say you're seeking asylum. That's not illegal. Not illegal at all. Let's see if there's any update to that. No, I don't see any update to that. All right. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley will kick off her campaign for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination this month, squaring off against her one-time boss, Donald Trump, two sources familiar with her plan said. Now, she did previously say she was not going to run if Trump was running, but I wonder how much of the crap she said to bolster Trump's ego was something she actually meant. I mean, she knows that in order to make her life easier, she has to stoke the man baby's ego. So she strokes his ego because, she wants to gain power. And she knows she can gain power through him because, well, he'll do anything for anyone who says nice things about him. So now she's running against him, and so far they're the only two in the race. If I had to choose, it would definitely be Nikki Haley. She has tried to do the QAnon talking points, how bad CRT is, or whatever talking point of the day is for the Republicans. But it's so, just such a statement that I wonder if she's just doing it in hopes that somebody will latch on to her, as opposed to her actually believing it. Anyway, the relatives of Black people killed by police in cities across the United States attended Tyre Nichols' funeral in a Memphis church to offer comfort to the family of the 29-year-old who was fatally beaten by officers last month. Speaking over a flower-bedecked casket, preachers recalled a young man who loved photography and skateboarding and demanded justice. Now, the pastor of that church said that they wanted to focus on the way he lived and not the way he died. Yet, Al Sharpton was there talking about how he died. Even Kamala Harris, her very reason for being there was because of how he died. So, that doesn't scream, we want to just celebrate how he lived. There were definitely people there who were capitalizing on the fact of how he died. Granted, Kamala was trying to implore that they should pass the George Floyd Policing Act, but it's just, Alright, let's see if there's anything else. This is sort of interesting. So, in Australia, the $5 banknote had the picture of Queen Elizabeth. And so, instead of replacing her with King Charles, they are going to replace it with indigenous designs. And their reasoning is that the reason she was on the banknote to begin with was that it was more because of her personality and her longevity rather than the fact that she is a queen. Which makes me wonder, did they have her on any other money, any other currency in Australia? Or is this them slowly moving away from the monarchy? Because after her death, Republicans were talking about dropping the monarchy. So I don't know. I don't know if she was on other currency in Australia and if they're going to replace her with King Charles, or if no monarch is going to be on the currency anymore. Not a clue. But with that, I will see you guys tomorrow.